Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here we are recording on a Thursday. I mean, Joy, have we recorded on every single night of the week now?
It feels like it.
I think so.
I don't think there's any night that's been maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, well, I think we've probably done it Tuesday. I still think we need to do one at 7 a.m. or 3 a.m. or something just because.
If I did one at 3 a.m., it would be the loopiest episode. Because see, what the people don't know is I'm not a morning owl and I'm not a night owl. I'm like a mid-afternoon owl. From the hours of like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., you're going to get your best from me. And outside of that, good luck.
Well, I will put that in my my notes for podcasting. So it ever comes up, I think maybe we won't do that.
It's more like 11 a.m. to actually think about this 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. You're going to get your best. If we go outside those hours, Tim, well, you get what you get.
Well, there we are. Well, that's at the very beginning of the show. I do have a quick music news item, and I know you've got some things that you want to move into. So this is a thing that happened this week. Ozzy Osbourne did an interview. And as you probably know, Black Sabbath did a farewell gig a number of years ago.
Yes.
It was like 2011 was the sort of time when that happened. And then they got back together and they reunited. And then they did a final show in Birmingham in England on February the 4th, 2017. The only thing is the original drummer, Bill Ward, was not part of that reunion. He originally was supposed to be. So it was supposed to be the classic lineup of Black Sabbath. But Bill Ward pulled out because he said it was unreasonable contract reasons that he pulled out of it. So he probably wasn't offered enough money or didn't think it was worth his while, so he didn't do it. So they had a different drummer come in. It was actually the drummer from Faith No More, who was the drummer who filled in.
Okay.
So in an interview this week, Ozzy Osbourne said he would jump at the chance to play a final Black Sabbath show with Bill Ward, and he considers it unfinished business because he didn't sort of close the era off by having the lineup.
That makes sense. Did he talk any in detail if there's like any animosity there, or he just really wants to do it?
No, I don't think there's any bad blood at all. He just feels that he would like to do it. I mean,
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, Ozzy is talking about doing a couple more gigs to say farewell to all of his fans. And I wonder whether that classic Sabbath lineup will be part of that. Supposedly, it's going to be in Birmingham again, and it's going to be at Villa Park Football Stadium. He's going to do 2 gigs there, and then he's going to retire from performing forever. I mean, he's 75. He's had a number of health problems over the years.
He's not in good health.
No, I mean, Sharon claims his voice is in tip-top condition, but I don't know. I mean, he wants to close his chapter, and maybe they can pay Bill Ward enough money and he will do it. I don't know.
I mean, he very well. To his defense, he's always sounded when he's speaking, like in his regular speaking voice, like he's half there. So it's hard to really judge no matter what, you know what I mean? From 19-year-old Ozzy to now, he's never quite sounded like his speaking voices doesn't sound like the way he sings. So it's really hard to judge if his singing voice is still there or not.
Yeah, I mean, and to be completely honest, Ozzy's singing voice isn't the best.
He's
not
yelling, Tim.
Yeah, he's not Freddie Mercury at the end of the day. And if you listen to any of his solo stuff, it is sort of double tracked with an effect on it to sort of hide the fact that he's not the best singer in the world. But that said, he sounds like Ozzy, and he always has a great rocking band behind him, and it's some great songs. And, I don't want anything more or less from my Ozzy vocal experience, but if you're going there for virtuoso vocal technique, that is not the place.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but he's a yell singer. It's kind of obvious if anyone's ever heard him sing. But if I'm going to hear Black Sabbath, that's what I want to hear. That's like going to a Britney Spears concert and complaining that she lip sync. Tim, we know she does. And just you're mostly going to see Britney do 70,000 dance moves and say, I saw Britney Spears. You're not going to hear like a singing virtuoso. And I think that's pretty true for Ozzy as well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the only time that Ozzy and Britney were spoken of in the same breath, I don't know.
Of course, it's an original statement from Joy. She listens to Ozzy and she listens to Britney.
Well, I would have them in exactly the same playlist, one after the other, and I wouldn't even think anything about it.
I wouldn't either. I would go from Oops, I Did It Again to Ozzy singing me about crazy trains.
Well, there we are. Well, Joy, what do you have for us at this early juncture in the show?
All right, so I have. So before I'll do my music news, which is one little blib, and then I have a game for Tim that he's going to love because he loves when I put him on the spot and don't tell him anything about what's coming. They always go really well, and then it'll be my topic. So I don't know if you saw this. We talked about Metallica in the last episode. We were talking about the Elton John kind of thing and Metallica. They actually have made history as of May 15th, which is yesterday. Shocker, everybody. We do record in the past. With a new number one single. Did you know this? So Metallica's latest album, 72 Seasons. Tim was going to say something. What were you going to say?
No, you know what was funny? I saw a headline today about Metallica hitting number one. And it sort of, I was so busy, it didn't really register. And, you know, my brain, I thought, well, is the something metal something? And it didn't even register.
Yes, so they've had the album 72 Seasons, been out for more than a year now, but it's slowly been catching, I guess, people's attention. And then their hit number one song is called Screaming Suicide. It raced to number one on the mainstream rock airplay chart at Billboard. So right now, the number one rock song is a Metallica song. How cool.
That is excellent. I mean, I have a copy of 72 Seasons. It is such a good album, and I highly recommend people check it out. It's probably the best album they've released in years. It's stylistically very different to the Black Album. If you're expecting Enter Sandman, it's not that. It's like a contemporary version of some of their very early work. It's kind of thrashy and it's various different tempo changes and key changes and stuff like that. And there's one track on there that's really long, which is the closing track. But I was at the they had an album launch party type thing, but it wasn't really a party. They did it in cinemas. And they launched it in the cinema, and all the cinemas around the world were playing the thing the same day and all this kind of stuff. But I saw that album launch party at the cinema, and I really enjoyed what I heard and what I saw. And I went out and bought it. And I don't know, I really like that album. It's got many plays in this household.
Well, apparently it's one of these albums that people just keep re-listening to. It seems to be coming back and back. But yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the song Screaming Suicide, but it is number one on the mainstream rock chart right now.
Well, there we are, Lars and James and Kirk and Robert. Congratulations to you, gentlemen.
Lars, and they obviously listen to the podcast. James Hetfield is actually my BFF.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the tour bus. You know, they're kicking back. They put a bit of the old NNMC Music cast on. You know, that's exactly how it is.
Anyway, so next on to the games that Tim loves. I am going to ask him to pick a number between 1 and 100. And with this number is going to be the name of a movie that I am going to assume he has never seen. And I probably haven't either. And we're both going to decide what we think it's about. Then I'm going to click the IMDb list to find out what it's really about. All right, Tim, pick a number.
Okay, this has always been a lucky number of mine, and I'm going to go with 98.
All right, 98. Oh, I know this movie, so this will be for Tim. Well, it's kind of obvious what it's about, but he probably doesn't know exact plot. The movie is from 2011, and it is called Bridesmaids.
Well, I think it's about a bunch of bridesmaids who go into a haunted castle, and they're having a bachelorette type party thing, and then these demons appear in the castle, and they don't murder the bridesmaids, but the bridesmaids murder them. And then the FBI come looking for them, and then they have to have a destination wedding somewhere else. And then the relatives of the demons catch up with them, and then it's a huge bloodbath at the wedding.
Well, that is not what happens in this movie. I've watched this movie many times. It's one of my favorites, Tim. So what it is it's basically the main character, Maya Rudolph, whose mother is a famous singer, Mimi Rudolph. But with that being said, and then Kristen Wiig is her friend. Maya Rudolph becomes engaged, and Kristen Wiig is kind of still a single, oh man, you're getting married, and she doesn't have a great job. She's just not doing very many things. And the bakery she wanted to start went downhill. And Maya is marrying this very rich man. And I don't remember if the one person who's a bridesmaid who is rich was her friend, or she became friends with her or something. And the other girl becomes jealous, and it's like all these wacky things that she does to compete with the rich girl, basically, to be her friend's like maid of honor, I guess, in a way. And then they all come to a head at the end. But the best part of it is at the end, they all sing Wilson Phillips. Hold on.
No.
It's one of the best things about the movie.
So there's no demons, bloodbaths, or castles.
No, it's really just about two women competing to be their friends' maid of honor, really.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not a
I love that
connoisseur of
movie.
films, but my plot devices, I think, would have been more interesting.
I probably did a really bad job at describing it. But yes, I mean, there's just a lot of funny like ad libs and like little things in it. There's a lot of quotable moments. And if you see it, you've ever been like friends in low places. If you've ever been the friend in the low places who showed up in black boots and ruined your black tie affair, if you've ever been the black sheep, that's what it's a play on, really.
Okay.
And so, yeah. Anyway, that's my really bad. You could tell I don't do movie reviews. Okay, so with that being said, tonight's episode is not specifically like we're just going to go through a list of songs that match in some way, but they kind of do. What we're going to talk about is something that me and Tim have hinted at for a very long time, is the net worth of people with one-hit wonders. So me and Tim have discussed many times what we think. Did they make enough money off of this if they never had to work again? How much are they worth now? Things of that nature. And
Interesting.
So I have a list of about 10, and then I have another list of about 33. I just pull the ones off that I want to talk about, if I'm being honest with you. And it's kind of interesting because and now, to be clear, their net worth isn't all about the song, but generally with these, they kind of became known of the song and then they were able to do other things, but we still only think of them for one song. And it's interesting to see between that and royalties how much money they're still making, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is an obvious one. Me and Tim have talked about this, and it is Sinead O'Connor's cover of Prince's Nothing Compares to You.
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily call Sinead O'Connor a one-hit wonder. I mean, she had other hits in the UK, but I think universally she's known for doing Nothing Compares to You. Of course, she made that statement on Saturday Night Live where she ripped up a picture of the Pope, and then she struggled with that for years after the fact.
So her net worth to this day is still $1.5 million.
Well, it would be if Sinead O'Connor was still alive.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Dang, Tim, way to bring it down. I forgot about that happening until you said it.
Let's just say her estate would be worth 1.5.
Yes. But to be fair, that's still quite a bit of money. In my mind, I don't know. I would think of her more of like a 2-hit wonder, 3-hit wonder, more than like a 1-hit wonder. But I do think she is iconic and a name that most people know. So it doesn't surprise me that she's worth that much. So now this is a person I am not familiar with, and Tim is not going to be familiar with them. So we're just going to talk about them for 2 seconds and move on. This guy's name is Taylor Hicks, and he was on American Idol, the 5th season of American Idol, Tim. Do you remember this guy at all?
No, I've never, ever seen American Idol, unsurprisingly.
Apparently, he had a one-hit wonder song called Do I Make You Proud? No clue, never heard of it, don't know much about it, but he's still worth $1 million from it.
Interesting, because with American Idol or X Factor or any of this stuff, it's a massive Simon Cowell production where his production team and songwriters and producers and stuff, they sort of, you insert the character in there, and then they have a hair and makeup person and a stylist, and they produce this product, and then they make a very small amount of money. Simon Cowell and his cronies make all the money, and then they move on to the next one. And it's very fair. It's very unfair to those people. And it's so transient because like the next one will come in and the next one will come in. And of course, people want that fame and fortune, but they're normally not going to get any cash for it. So it's surprising that he has a net worth that's even that much.
Well, the only one that I know, when I look back at what I know about American Idol, which give it is not a lot. The only one that is still significantly famous, and actually I think 2 other members are on this list, but the only one that is significantly famous is Kelly Clarkson. She was the first winner of American Idol.
Yeah, you occasionally get a talent who completely breaks that mold. They might be under some...
But it's almost because she's the first, I think, Tim.
Yeah, maybe they hadn't figured out how to rip the artist off at that point. But also, she's a talent. And maybe she
Japan
grew
sing.
from that and grew into bigger and better things and what have you. But yeah, it also could be that they was the first and they hadn't fully worked out how to milk all the money out of it.
Now she does talk about her. So she was the first place winner, and Justin Galimi, or I don't know. Don't come for me, internet, if I'm saying that wrong. His name was Justin something. Was the second place, right? And they did this movie from Kelly to Justin, and it was terrible. And she talks about like she never wanted to do it. She's not an actress. She's a singer, and she talks about how horrifying it was. If you want to see the corniest, worst movie you've ever looked at, look up From Justin to Kelly. It's absolutely disgusting.
It sounds like it. Well, just a question. Adam Lambert, wasn't he like a runner up on American
Yep.
Idol rather than the winner?
Yes, and he was the one. I never watched that season. I just remember my mom talking about it because she was disappointed he didn't win. He was like everybody's fan favorite, but for some reason he came in like third or something. Like he should have won, but he came in third. And from what I understand, is he was the better singer. Now that is a good point. Adam Lambert has had pretty mainstream success, but he wasn't actually a winner. Now Mercedes, well, she played Mercedes Jones, and her in real life her name's Amber on Glee.
Mhm.
Wonderful, amazing singer. Auditioned for American Idol and never made it. And could literally, she is like up there with like the divas of the century. Like she's the one I showed you when we were looking at the Whitney Houston, the African American girl. Like can sing Whitney, can sing Aretha, can sing, you know what I mean? The paint off the walls. Didn't make it because a lot of it's staged and you don't get to see what you see on TV when you go to those auditions.
Well, you know that every piece of that is staged. Every piece of that is scripted. They've decided who's going to win before, you ever see any of it on the TV. The whole thing is just a sham, like every other reality show. I mean, if you take it at the level that it's entertainment, accept it at that level. But if you think you're getting involved in a fair competition, it is not that.
Well, and to be fair, the only one that I like is I like The Voice, but I don't like The Voice for the competition. I just like to try to guess who it is in the costume. Does that make sense, Tim? Like, I enjoy the mystery of it. Not The Voice. I'm sorry, The Masked Singer, everybody. The Masked Singer is what I'm saying. I enjoy the mystery of figuring out who the Masked Singer is like, more than, like, the competition. I like the clues and trying to guess who it is. Like I am convinced right now, which I had to pause it, Tim. I'm on the semifinals of the Masked Singer. Not trigger. Trigger warning? What am I looking for?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, everyone. If you have not listened, skip ahead like 20 seconds. I'm convinced Gumball is John Legend, but that doesn't matter.
And did you have to use your antenna on your TV to watch this?
It was on the Hulu.
No, because I remember at one point you was watching The Masked Singer, and you had to use some kind of rabbit ears antenna or aerial for our UK friends to pick it up, and I was just impressed that you had an antenna in your house.
I still do. I have a digital antenna that picks up the local channels, and if I want to watch it live on Wednesday nights, I have to use the antenna. But I forgot last night, so I watched it on Hulu.
There we are. I have no method of watching broadcast TV in this house, and I probably never will.
One day it was like, I think it was like I was walking through Walmart or something of the sort, and there was like a digital antenna on sale for $10. I just bought it on the off chance. Like I wanted to watch, like, I don't know, the Thanksgiving Day parade or something. You know what I mean, Tim? Stuff that's live. And every once in a while I cut it off. And when my internet has went out, it has come in handy. It's very boring in this century without internet. All right, back to our one-hit wonders and how much they are worth now, because that's kind of what the point of this episode is. Another one that came up was Bobby McFerrin, and the song is "Don't Worry, Be Happy." I'm sure Ted is very familiar with this, and I would assume I think of him as a one-hit wonder generally. I don't know if anything else he's done. His net worth to this day is $5 million.
I could believe that. I mean, yes, he is a one-hit wonder. I've listened to his album, and it's lots of other a cappella songs that are not as good as "Don't Worry, Be Happy." I mean, there was this a cappella renaissance in the 80s with Bobby McFerrin. But the thing is, you have to remember is that this song was licensed for commercials. It was licensed for
it's been
TV,
used in everything.
Films. I mean, I remember when it was out, and this song was absolutely everywhere. And I'm sure he probably has a team of people that licenses to this day, and it's used and stuff. So, I mean, good luck to him. I mean, he's probably got a nice little bit of cash come off the back of it. It's, even if as much as the
royalties.
Internet, yeah. And he's probably lived a very comfortable life off the back of "Don't Worry, Be Happy."
Well, it does say that he is still making music and he's still out there performing if anybody's interested in seeing Mr. Don't Worry, Be Happy. Another one that I found very interesting, but I want to ask, have you actually seen what this artist looks like recently? And that is Toni Basil.
Oh, the Hey Mickey person.
Yeah.
I
Have you
haven't
visually seen a photo? I want you to Google her right now on air.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving it a goog. Where are we?
To only say nice things, if she appeared in front of me, I would not know this was her.
Well, I mean, I see a picture of her, and she is an older lady now.
It doesn't look like Toni Basil to me at all.
No, but I mean, equally, I mean, how old is she?
How old is she? That's the question. All right, Tim, you're on the Goog machine. How old is Toni Basil?
She's 80 years old.
Oh, never mind. Now I feel bad. Of course she is. I was shocked because for some reason in my mind, I would have thought of her to be 80, but she definitely looks older. And so I was like, what? But to be fair, Hey Mickey came out in 1982. It's 2024 now, Tim. So for those who don't know, she did the song Hey Mickey. And that's a pretty popular song. Anybody can Google Hey Mickey by Toni Basil. It's probably been marketed and used in 74,000 movies. I know it's at the end of Bring It On for sure. And her net worth right now is $5 million, which is the same as Bobby McFerrin's.
Yeah, I could believe that because, again, I remember this in 1982. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my... It was everywhere. And it's still an earworm to this day. I will be hanging up this call in 45 minutes or something, and Hey Mickey will be stuck in my head for the next who knows how long.
It will be ever since I've been looking at these lists. It's been stuck in my head. And it is a song I love. I love the video. I have distinct memories of her in the cheerleading outfit in the video. Like, it's a very distinct song to me. And I love the movie Bring It On. I love when they do their version of Mickey at the end of it. It's just an iconic song.
Yeah, hey Mickey, what a pity you don't understand. You got me by the heart and you got me by the hand. I mean,
you take me by the heart when you take me by the hand.
That's it. Yeah.
God, Tim,
Crikey.
Get your rhymes right. Oh, Mickey, what a pity you don't understand. You take me by the heart when you take me by the hand.
I thought it was God, but anyway, same thing. But even still, stuck in my head.
It doesn't matter. Somebody's probably yelling at us. We're both wrong. Anyway, so moving along. First of all, I love this picture because they're holding a giant 1980s cell phone in their ear. But the next one is, here's my thing. I don't know. This could be considered two-hit wonder. He's considered not my favorite person, and probably not Tim's either. But because he did another song that was popular. It is Vanilla Ice, and they're saying Ice Ice Baby makes him a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, Ice Ice Baby, or I know he's a big friend of your father, Mr. Robert Van Winkle.
Dad knows so much about him. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yes, this is definitely a case of a one-hit wonder. I mean, he had songs before Ice Ice Baby and songs after. Nobody cares about that. If you say Vanilla Ice to anybody, probably worldwide, they're probably going to say Ice Ice Baby. No one's going to know any other song he's done.
Well, Mr. Van Winkle is now, but to be fair, he has done, I mean, obviously, we all know that he stole this from Queen and David Bowie. Anyway, it's not like it was his original song, but he was in commercials and like a lot of TV programs. I feel like he was in a lot of B reality shows and things of that nature. Do you know what I mean, Tim? And I distinctly remember him being a macaroni and cheese commercial where he sang and the macaroni was shaped like Ninja Turtles.
Well, the thing is, you have to remember is, I mean, you have your 15 minutes of fame. And you need to capitalize on that 15 minutes of fame while it's hot. So if it means selling macaroni, if it means being on Nickelodeon, if it means doing a commercial for something else, you have to capture that to sustain yourself because you know it's not going to last forever.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, what I was getting at is some of this money is coming from probably a lot of that, too. So he is worth at the moment. And I think he's a contractor now.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think he does like construction contracting, which makes good money.
Sure.
And it says he is worth $12 million.
Interesting.
Which I'm not surprised, but there was definitely he does like real estate contracting something. I know that, but it's like he did like a version of Ice Ice Baby, and it was a commercial about Kraft macaroni and cheese, and they were shaped like Ninja Turtles. And I just remember him going, "Go Ninja, go Ninja, go." That's all I remember. So if anyone remembers that commercial, that's what I think of when I think of Vanilla Ice.
That is a statement of the time. Ninja Turtle macaroni things, Vanilla Ice. I mean, goodness me.
Very early 2000s, if you've ever heard it. Now, this is one that most people would consider a one hit wonder, though I consider his song with Dolly Parton makes him less of a one hit wonder, but no one else knows this song. It's really not one of her popular songs. This is Billy Ray Cyrus, and of course, it's Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah, I mean, he had other music, and of course, very famously, the father of Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
But yeah, Achy Breaky Heart and the associated line dance is his number one hit, which was a one hit wonder.
His claim to fame, but I will say I appreciated his part in Romeo with Dolly Parton and Loretta Lynn and all the other. That might just be, I might be the only person who knows that song exists at this point. So with that being said, I mean, obviously I think Miley has way more, I think she's probably a better singer than he is. But he is worth. It's hard to tell though, because didn't he have that one song that's like, I went skydiving, wasn't that him?
I don't know.
Rocky Mountain
I can tell you from an early 90s UK perspective, it's Achy Breaky Heart, and that is it. I mean, I mean, I haven't heard of any of his other stuff since I've lived here.
He had one song, I feel like it was him 10 years ago, and basically all I remember was it talked about like all these things he wants to do before he dies, and it's like a guy is diagnosed with cancer and doing all the things that you wanted to do or whatever, and he lists it all out, like I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, you know what I mean, like 4.2 seconds on a Fu Manchu or something like that. Don't quote me, internet, but that's what I remember. And I hated that song. But anyway, I absolutely hate that song, and it makes my eye twitch. So if you're a big fan of it, I'm sorry. With that being said, and I do wonder, I think he had a lot to do with producing some of Miley's stuff.
Okay.
Because I think he's a producer behind the scenes. I could be wrong. He is now worth $20 million.
Yeah, maybe the production and songwriting and other things he does has made him a load of money. But equally, Achy Breaky Heart, I'm sure if he had a writing credit on that, that's been used in commercials and all kinds of things.
Even just comically, like, you know what I mean, Ted? There's some humor in it in of itself. And then there was this art of Lil Nas that came out a few years ago. He did have that Old Town Road, I'm gonna ride till I hate that song too. But I think Billy Ray either produced that or was rapping in it or something. I don't know. And then he tried to remake the version. Did you watch the new version he tried to redo of Achy Breaky Heart with the aliens in the video?
No, that completely passed me by.
So I don't know if it was like he was trying to modernize it or something, but 2 or 3 backs, he reproduced Achy Breaky Heart, made it almost hip hop rap sounding. And I distinctly remember in the video, I'm going to have to send this. You're going to have to do react, Tim, because it's bad. It was like they were like in a spaceship and there were aliens.
This is news to me. The thing is, when Billy Ray, when you have perfection, when you have your thing, just don't mess with that. Just leave it where it is. Just let it be. Maybe do something new. Don't try and reinvent the wheel.
You're already worth $20 million. Why do you need to mess up what's already good for you, buddy? I don't know, but I want to do a react video because, Tim, it is as bad as it sounds. Maybe it's a fever dream that I come up with and it's not real. I don't know. Maybe I was, I made that whole thing up, but I'm going to go find it and send it to Tim, and we'll find out if Joy's just imagining that. And if any of our listeners remember what I'm talking about, I promise I'm not going crazy. All right, so this is another one that's not going to surprise anyone, and another song that has been used every possible thing you could think of, and everyone's made fun of it. Everybody's using it in TV shows. This is Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back.
Do you know what's funny? I listened to that maybe 2 weeks ago, and as a novelty hit, it is still fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I actually played it twice when it came up on my premium shuffle, and it is just great. And the funny thing is, I like it. Well, because I like it because it's a novelty hit. But like
Mhm.
Hannah growing up never had satellite or cable. And she used to go around her grandma's house who had cable or satellite or something like that. And so they used to put MTV on. And that
Mhm.
was on heavy rotation at the time. And she thought it was the most scandalous thing she'd ever seen when she saw that video and thought it was so naughty to be
Oh
seeing
God.
it.
And now it's like PG comparatively what you see on TV.
Exactly.
I love that song. I know every word to that song. I still can rap every part of that song to this day. He is worth, and this does not surprise me. Even Nicki Minaj did another version of it with Anaconda. Like, I can't think of a more notarized song. $30 billion. This is all we hit.
I can see that. I'd imagine he brought into songwriting or production or something
I'm
after
sure he did.
performing Baby's Got Back. I actually have a copy, which it's a CDR burnt copy. It's not a proper one, but of
Yeah.
the album that but got Baby's Got Back on it. And as you know, I'm not a fan of rap music at all. And because Baby's Got Back is a novelty hit, it sort of gets a pass in my book. But I tried to listen to the rest of the album, and it
It's
is,
called Mac Daddy.
yeah, it is not to my taste.
Well, it was the second best-selling album and surpassed Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You, Tim. I don't know. We should be shocked, but it's true.
Well, I mean, he
Uh,
has been knighted. He's a sir.
Now, that is true. I don't think that he was knighted. I think he just goes by that.
Is
I
that
could
like
be
when I
wrong.
watch classic wrestling? There's a British commentator on 80s wrestling called Lord Alfred Hayes. Are you telling me that he's not an honorary peer?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
I find that hard to believe. I mean, he keeps saying, this is Lord Alfred Hayes.
Well, Tim, you might be a little gullible. Anyway, with that being said, I'm on the fence about this one, and our Australian friends are going to yell at me because we've talked about this band in essence, but in America, they are generally considered one-hit wonders. Nobody knows another song from them. Besides the fact that I do this podcast, I would not. That's just the truth, and I'm a music connoisseur. This is Aha, and of course, it's Take On Me. They're talking about Morton Hackett, the lead singer. They say he's worth $60 million, but I feel like that's a caveat because you guys say he has other songs and still performs and does things.
Yeah, Aha, they're a huge Norwegian band. They had lots of hits in the UK. I mean, I can think of three or four off the top of my head, but certainly in the United States, Take On Me is the one that everybody knows. And I remember a very early trip to this country, staying in New York City, right in Times Square. It was a great deal we got on Hotwire.
Yeah.
I think it was the Marriott Times Square. We got a really good deal. And it was like a corner room. It was
Hmm.
really fancy, and it was not very expensive. We got one of these hot wired deals, and we flew into JFK or one of those. I think it was JFK. It wasn't LaGuardia. We got the cab to the hotel, and we was just like unpacking our stuff and just chilling out, just getting ready, adjusting to the time difference. And I put the TV on for MTV because at the time MTV still played
Still
videos.
played music.
Yeah, and then there was like MTV's top 21 hit wonders, and then it came up to Aha's Take On Me. And I remember saying to Hannah, I said, "That's not a one hit wonder." I said they had loads of hits, and she said, "Oh, she said in this country that's the only song they ever had," and I really found that hard to believe.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to believe that like there's like a whole subsection of I'm missing. So I wanted to put that caveat out there that I realize they are not a one-hit wonder across the board, which probably contributes to the fact why they have a $60 million net worth.
Yeah, and Morton Harkett, the singer of Aha,
Hmm.
he's like an electric car advocate. He had a
Huh.
thing going on in Norway where
It's very Nordish.
yeah,
Nordish? Is
so
that how you say
Norway
it?
is one of the few countries that's
Norwegian?
more or less completely embraced electric cars. I think nearly all cars in Norway, all new cars sold are electric cars. If
Hmm.
you buy a gas or petrol car, as you would say in the UK, in Norway, the taxes on it are so high, most people are not getting involved in that. And I think Norway is Tesla's largest market. But the problem is that you still had to pay road tolls and you had to pay certain taxes or something to have a vehicle. And he was trying to advocate at the beginning when they were trying to roll these electric
Hmm.
cars out is to lessen or remove the taxes for electric cars to encourage people to adopt buying electric cars. And I think he had a Tesla, and then he famously drove it somewhere where there was a toll, and he didn't pay the toll, and then he got arrested, and it became a whole thing because, he's a huge star in Norway, and he was trying to
do they really arrest people for not using? They just send the ticket to your house.
Well, I think if you don't pay it enough, you end up with a court summons and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, like it was long enough that he didn't pay it.
Yeah, and it became a thing, and he tried to use that as a platform to say, look, we're trying to encourage people to use electric cars, and we're taxing them and tolls and blah, 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 blah. And he led that movement to remove all those charges for people buying electric cars. And by doing that, sped up the adoption of electric cars in Norway.
Well, there you go. It's electric.
And maybe I read an entire article on Wired one lunchtime about that, just putting that out there.
Seems all to connect very full circle there, Tim.
Yeah.
So this one is tied with our Aha singer. And this is a song that Tim's going to be like, oh, I know this, but I wish I didn't know this. This is Psy's Gangnam Style. Do you remember this song, Tim?
Yeah, I do. This was like the biggest song in the world for about 2 months, I suppose. Yep. And I don't know if Psy has had any other hits apart from Gangnam Style.
So he wrote a lot of music, I think, for a lot of K-pop bands, from what I understand. He's been a behind-the-scenes kind of person. But for himself, no. Now, one of the big things about Gangnam Style, if you guys will remember, is because it was catchy on the internet. It was like the #1 streamed video on YouTube for 2-3 years, I think. It says it ended up getting over 4.1 billion views on YouTube. Now, he is known as a Korean artist and has had a lot of fame in Korea and owns his own label called P Nation and does a lot of stuff with Korean pop artists. But he is worth $60 million.
Yeah, I could believe that. I mean, purely just from the stuff that you get from YouTube. I mean, that would earn you millions of dollars alone with those kind of plays. Now, the interesting thing, do you know what Gangnam Style is?
I remember people talking about it initially, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, the capital of South Korea is Seoul, or however you say it. And Gangnam is like the very upmarket part of that city, like the Kensington, if you will, the Chelsea, New York City type thing. Yeah, Gangnam. So you're saying Gangnam Style. It's like the very posh upmarket part of town.
The Upper East Side of wherever they are.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Got it. Interesting. So it's just a type of style. I mean, I think that what played into it was the dance, of course. And it was kind of like a precursor to like people loving dancing on TikTok, if you think about it. You know what I mean, Tim? Like this kind of universal dancing. But to be fair, when I was going through a lot of these, it's not on here because I couldn't find their exact net worth. But I did find out the highest grossing Tim one-hit wonder of all time was the Macarena.
Yeah.
The Lost Lonely Boys version.
I could believe that.
I didn't put them on the list because I couldn't specifically find what their net worth is today, so it didn't really match with the rest. But they did say that was the highest grossing one-hit wonder of all time.
There we are. I can tell you, as of today, May 16th, 2024, Psy has 5.1 billion views with a B.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And the article I was reading wasn't that old, so that lines up perfectly. Now, my husband would debate if this is a one-hit wonder, but generally, for the general public, you would find this band a one-hit wonder. And they're specifically talking about a member of this band. This is Right Said Fred. Of course, the one-hit wonder most people know is I'm Too Sexy. Yep. This is Richard Fairbrass. He's one of the members. If you look at him, he's the one that wears the giant ring. He has like a huge, looks like a Super Bowl ring or whatever. And he is worked to this day and think about it. I'm Too Sexy Tim has been moved. TV shows, movies, books. Another one of these songs that was a novelty hit in its right has been used since the beginning of time. He's still worth $5 million.
I could believe that. I mean, in the UK, again, they were not one-hit wonders. They're that Don't Talk, Just Kiss. There was a bunch of other songs they had.
Charlie would argue with me on that because my husband loved Right Said Fred, but...
Yeah, and they were also COVID and mask deniers, and people were arguing them over the pandemic on Twitter, which was ridiculous. And people were saying, "You do realize you're arguing with Right Said Fred, right?"
Like for all the people to be yelling at us about. Well, and Charlie, I think one of the episodes we talked about this before. He's very sad to hear this because the funny part is, if you listen to a lot of their music, there's stuff about being like drag queens and things of that nature. There's very liberal themes in their music. Isn't that the irony?
Yeah, I mean, there's no accounting for people and their views. I mean, have your views. Your views are yours, and whatever. I don't
But I'm
judge you.
not
But
arguing with Right Said
then
Fred on
Fred,
TikTok
exactly.
about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now, I never say this lady's name wrong, and someone's gonna yell at me. Tim will probably know how to say it. Natalie Imbruglia, that lady, the one who sang
It's Natalie Imbruglia.
that one. I don't know how to say her last name. She's the one who sang "Torn,"
Yeah.
which we all know. We've all heard a million times. I don't know any other songs from her. I don't. I associate her as a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. I mean, I know all the songs of her album. And that album is absolutely fantastic, the one that has Torn on it. And I've told the story before how I bought a CD copy of it in 1998 in a music shop in Perth, Australia. And I've spoken about that many times. But outside of the songs on that album, because I know the album so well, I don't know any other hits of hers.
Yeah, I don't really know much about her, but her net worth is still to this day $16 million.
Well, I mean, that's not too bad. I think she went back into acting after the fact, I think.
That would make sense. She has a look like she has really pretty blue eyes, and with the short hair, Tim, I could see her pulling off the acting thing.
Well, she was acting before she was in music. I think she was another one that came from Neighbours, I believe.
Oh yeah, you said that. The Australian show?
Yeah.
Somebody out there in Australia is yelling at me right now. Tim's told you this 1,000 times now. How can you not remember? Okay. I'm debating this because this artist had two songs. Do you remember the artist Vitamin C, Tim? She did the graduation song.
It's a name I've heard of, but I don't know the songs at all, and I wouldn't know what they sounded like.
So she has that song that everybody uses in like their graduation. As we go on, we remember anything, all the times we. Okay, it's like a graduation song. That's what it be called. I don't even know what the real name is. Everybody just calls it the graduation song. And then she had this song for like 5 minutes called "Smile" off the same album that was extremely popular that I liked. And she went by Vitamin C. She had bright colored yellow hair that was obviously fake. She's definitely a redhead in real life with like bright colored like lipstick, and like she had like this kind of vibe going for her. But I think because the graduation song is used in everybody's graduation pictures, every memorabilia thing, it's kind of like Time of Your Life, like Green Day-esque. Mm-hmm. It's reused over and over and over again. She is still worth $8 million.
Well, there we are. Well, actually, I have a question for you about graduation. So,
yeah,
as you know, I may have mentioned this a few times. I'm a fan of classic wrestling, WWF wrestling. And correct. Macho Man Randy Savage comes out to the song, and I'm going to sing it to you. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam, bam,
that's the procession when you graduate.
Yeah, it's Pomp and Circumstance March #1 is the name for it. And as a kid, I used to watch wrestling, and I just thought it was the Macho Man Randy Savage song. And then when I started getting back into it and playing this stuff in the house, Hannah says that's what they play when you graduate high school, and I'm like, what?
It is. It's the procession song. So they like have everybody of the year. You either hear like they'll play it like on a loudspeaker, or the high school band will play it or something. But yeah, you hear da 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 da. Yeah, it's usually either when you're coming in or going out because it's like when you're like the procession. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I've never graduated anything.
Somebody needs to give Tim a graduation ceremony.
Yeah, because when I went to secondary school, which is the equivalent of high school, you just did your final exams, and then you might have gone back and got the results, and that was it. There was no pomp and circumstance about it. And I never went into further education, so I've never, ever graduated anything.
I will say at my college, okay, I'll just do this story while we're talking about my college graduation was a cluster. Because, and I'm still mad about this to this day, because when you graduate, so I graduated from Radford University. Tim and me are very close. I mean, I'm literally within walking distance. It's within 15 minutes of Tim's house. Mm-hmm. To put in perspective how close this university is. And that's why I became local to this area, because I graduated school from there. It's a pretty popular university in our area, but it's large, and it's gotten larger every year. So they have a limit. They have a limit on like how many people you can have if they have to do an indoor ceremony. If they do an in-store ceremony, you're only allowed to bring 4 family members, right? And I had this all planned out. I was going to bring Charlie, my mom, my dad, and Brady. Those were my 4 that I wanted to come. And everybody else we could just go eat afterwards if I had to do it indoors. That is if it rains, right? They have an indoor ceremony. Storms, hurricanes come, whatever, we're going to do it indoors. Otherwise, because I graduated in the spring, it's outdoors. And then you can have unlimited people, right?
Okay.
Well, a lot of people get upset if they do the indoor specific thing because then their family members can't come and, they have people who travel and students will just throw a fit, right? So we get to my graduation and it looks like it's going to rain, but everything's good. We're all waiting. I kid you not. It torrential downpoured on us outside all day. I had worked on my cat. So in America, I don't know if this is a universal thing, but in America, we decorate the tops of your cap with like something cute, right? I had the little house from Disney's up and it says adventures are out there. That was mine. And I worked really hard on it. I hand colored it. It poured rain on it and it got destroyed. Thankfully, I got pictures of it before that happened. But anyway, hand cut out those letters, Tim, I'll have you know. But I didn't seal it on there because I thought we would do it indoors. But here is the kicker. So we're all waiting in line. It looks like rain, but it's not raining. And then it just starts downpouring on us. All the students had to sit out in the rain, or all the people graduating, we sit in the chairs. The people on stage had a canopy over them. So they talked and they talked and they talked. I can't tell you one word anyone said in a graduation speech because I was so mad. And then they told us we weren't allowed to use umbrellas because it could distract people's vision. Of course, that didn't go over. Everybody's got umbrellas up. And we just started hitting a beach ball with the umbrellas. And Charlie and Brandy, my husband Charlie, my twin sister Brandy, for those listening, they found a canopy to stand under. So no, I'm the one who was graduating, and I got to when I was so cold, I was soaking wet. My hair was the size of Texas. My cap was destroyed. It was just a cluster from beginning to end, and I'm still mad at them because they could have just put it indoors.
It sounds like a disaster. Well, as I said, my final day of secondary school. So I went in, I got the exam results, and I went, oh, that's that then. And then I went home, and that was it.
And in America, you graduate from kindergarten, preschool, middle school, high school, everything. Everything's a graduation.
Yeah, I've never graduated from anything like that.
I still have pictures of if I can find them, I will give them to you and let you. My dad has a copy of it online of when I graduated elementary school in 6th grade.
Yeah. When I left primary school at the age of 12, you had the last day, and that was that.
I mean, I don't know why I needed to graduate. I don't know. I feel like Americans just like to celebrate.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen pictures of Hannah's kindergarten graduation. Yeah. And I said, well, what happened? She said, well, I said, what, you graduated? She said, oh, you just do.
Now, in my kindergarten, we always did a kindergarten circus at the end of the year, and we put on a full circus, Tim. And each kindergartner got to do a different like part. And I wanted to be a ballerina, and for some reason they wouldn't let me. And I ended up having to be like a horse, and I was very disappointed.
Well, I think what we should do is have a No Name Music House graduation. You are going to dress as a ballerina, and I'm just going to have a graduation anyway. And we're going to go somewhere, and we're going to graduate as podcasters or something. And it'll be so nice. You'll look so nice in your ballerina dress, and I'll have the hat thing on, and we'll take some pictures.
We'll redecorate it for you, Tim, and make sure it doesn't rain.
Yeah, and it won't rain. It's going to be, it'll be fantastic.
I still think about that because all the popular girls got to be ballerinas, and I had to be like, I think I was a horse or a whale or something. No, not a whale, a seal. I don't remember. But it was really cute. They did it every year in my elementary, and they still do it, I think. It's like a tradition. They do like a little circus, and everybody dresses up and acts like it's actually really fun.
Yeah,
anyway.
Things seem to be a lot more fun. I can tell you in the 80s and 90s in England, it wasn't the same thing. There wasn't as much fun involved.
You guys were all just working class heroes, according to John Lennon, or something like that. All right, back to the episode, back to the music. So this one will not come as a surprise. I've talked about the Disney version of this song on this, and there's probably 30,000 other versions that have been said many times. Of course, it's Lou Bega. Now, I personally do not think of him as a one-hit wonder because I had the album that Mambo Number 5 was on, and it was an excellent album. But, I mean, that's a one-off. And I mean, Mambo Number 5, Tim, probably one of the most famous songs of that period.
I would think so. I mean, I do wonder about his previous four Mumbos and what happened to those.
He lost them, didn't you know? It was when he was with Monica or
Rita and Tina and
yeah, they took them. That's what the whole song's about, obviously. I still love the Disney version where it's like a little bit of Mickey. It was so cute, which is so bad if you think about it, because the context of that song really shouldn't be for kids to begin with. Like, don't you love when they take the most? That reminds me. So there's an artist. His name is Dirty Old B Word. I'm not going to say it. Our podcast, and he has this song. Hey, that goes. Hey, dirty baby, I got your money. Don't you worry. That's how the song goes, right?
Okay.
And it's a fun song, but it's obviously talking about non-family friendly things, right, Tim?
Yeah.
I literally laughed until I cried because I was watching Hulu and somebody was doing a laundry commercial and they had cut down just to that piece of the song. And it was just like, hey, dirty. It was talking about like dirty laundry. And I was like, who approved? Because if you listen to that whole song, Tim, oh my God. And so I went on YouTube and I started reading the comments and everybody's like, who approved? It's so bad. So if you Google like dirty old laundry commercial Hulu, you will find it. And it's pretty bad. But do you ever wonder, have you ever seen that kind of play out before? You're like, do they not know what this song's about?
Well, of course they do. But I mean, a bunch of advertising executives are sitting around a table thinking, well, what can we use for this campaign? And somebody says, this song. I said, well, we can't use that. And they said, well, actually, maybe we could. It's going to strike up a bit of controversy. And, we can probably get the royalties down on that one. And
true. It's just funny because it's a laundry commercial of all the things. But anyway, so Lou Bega's net worth, which I don't think I said, is still $1 million.
Well, there we are, Lou Bega. You managed to carve out a career and financial security from your fifth Mumbo.
True. The first four didn't really plan out for him, but the fifth one really got him.
By the time he got to Mumbo 5, he was really getting it done.
I'm going to speak from experience that I absolutely detest this song. If you like it, it's nothing personal. But the reason I hate this song is because my mom's probably listening to this and she's going to yell at me later for saying this, but used to watch American Idol on it. And if you lost, they would play this song. It is David Powter, whatever his last name is, Bad Day. Have you heard the one? Because you had a bad day. I hate that song. It grinds my gears. And every time they would vote somebody off or whatever they would do on American Idol, they would play that song. Now, let me tell you, the anger I would feel if I'm being voted off this show and that's what plays. Oh, it's just a bad day, is it?
Well, really? I can tell you this song has a particular memory for me. I was working a job probably 2005, I think, 2004, 2005, something like that. And I will name and shame. I was working for Marantz Denon, both of which were hi-fi companies, distributors of hi-fi equipment, working up by Heathrow Airport. I was in need of a job. I'd worked for a company that was very similar a few years before, and I thought I'd be a good fit. I got through an employment agency. They were the most horrible people I've ever had to deal with. They were unpleasant. The manager was toxic. It was a terrible place to work. I don't know if it still exists as a company, but I didn't enjoy my time there. I was only there for 3 months. And in the office I worked in, they had a radio on, and that song was in the charts. And I went, yeah. You would be correct, sir.
That was the theme song of Tim's life during that period. Well, I guess that if you think about like TV shows and stuff using it, just like I was using the example, that would be why he's probably making so much royalties. He is worth $5 million.
Well, there we are. Well, he's not quite having that bad of a day, I suppose.
I mean, he's having a pretty good one for what I can tell. So I remember this song, and this is a stalker song, but it's not The Police, obviously, because that was definitely not a one-hit wonder. Do you remember Clay Aiken and his song Invisible?
No, but I know the fans of Clay Aiken were known as Claymates.
Of course they were. He's from American Idol, too. And he was the one that was against Ruben Studdard. He had this song about being invisible, and it really just sounds like a really, hold on, I'm going to look up the words, Tim. Play Aiken, so you can get the perspective of what I'm talking about, everybody. I'm doing a Goog right now. It's really bad. It says, what are you doing tonight? Wish I could be a fly on your wall. Are you really alone? Who's stealing your dreams? Why can't I breathe you into my life? What would it do to make you see that I'm alive? If I was invisible, then I could just watch you in your room. If I was invisible, I'd make you mine tonight. If hearts were unbroken, then I could just tell you where I stand. I should be the smartest man if I was invisible. Wait, I already am.
Crikey.
That's creepy, right, Tim?
It's a little bit.
It's borderlining the creepy level. I mean, we've all made the joke, I really wish I could be a fly on that wall when something interesting is happening, right? Mm-hmm. But to tell someone that you're in love with that you just wish you could be a fly on the wall and watch them is creepy. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I mean, that is police every breath you take territory.
That's what I'm saying. And this was really the only song he had. I mean, he came in second place on, I don't know what season, but I know he lost to Ruben Studdard. And he is worth $4 million. So I guess creepy pays off.
I don't know if that should be. I don't know if that should be a statement or a soundbite. Creepy pays off.
In this case, it does, Tim. I'm never going to let that statement down.
Yeah, that won't be one of the No Name Music House bumper stickers that we're planning. Where it's going to say meat raffle. Or
yeah, we should probably leave that one
off.
off.
Say creepy pays off.
Yeah, we probably should leave that one off. So this one is verging in Tim's territory, and this is that he knows the father of this person. I did not know she had a song. This is Hulk Hogan's daughter, Brooke Hogan.
Okay.
Did you know she had a song, Tim?
Yeah, I knew she had a music career because there was a TV show called Hulk Hogan Knows Best or Hogan Knows Best.
Something like that.
And then there was some kind of shenanigans with Hulk Hogan, and the daughter took it over, and it was called Brooke Knows Best. And it was sort of seen as a sort of backdoor pilot to launching her music career. So I did know that that's a thing. The interesting thing, Brooke Hogan taking the last name Hogan, that is his stage name. His name is Terry Bollea. So she would be Brooke Bollea.
Which sounds ridiculous. I think Brooke Hogan sounds better. So maybe that's why. Well, she must not have gotten too far on said reality show because she's considered a one-hit wonder. Her song was called About Us. I wouldn't know it if my life depended on it. I'm just going to tell you that now, guys. And she is worth, but Tim makes a good point. She comes from a famous family. She's been in like TV and stuff. She is still worth $4 million.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure she's probably worked for all the money that she has, but I mean, she's come from the Hulkamania fortunes, or probably lack of fortunes these days, or maybe no. I think what it is that Linda Hogan, who was a Hulk Hogan's estranged ex-wife, I think she ended up with a lot of the Hulkamania money. So I think there was probably a little bit of cash in that family. So yeah, maybe she did work for that money. I don't know, but I'm sure things were a little easier in the Hogan/Bollea family. I
mean, yeah. So with that being said, this is someone that I have to tell you two funny facts about. So first of all, I would say they're two-hit wonders in my book because I know of two of their songs. But this is Uncle Kracker. And of course, their song they're thinking of is Follow Me. But I do distinctly remember him having like one other. I think he did a version of Big Yellow Taxi, didn't he? Was that him? Sounds familiar. I feel like he did. Don't come for me, internet, if that's wrong. But I do think he had a popular version of Big Yellow Taxi. Anyway, so I am from a small town in Virginia. I'm from right outside of Galax, Virginia. I actually lived in Grayson County. Tim knows where Galax is. He drove past it on the interstate. You go right down 77. You go past it all the time. I'm sure he's performed to Galax, familiar with it. Yeah. It's a very one-horse town. You got a few stores and all that good stuff. Uncle Kracker is either engaged to or getting married to a woman that is originally from Galax, Virginia, Tim. And because of that, he played a concert there 2 years ago. Interesting. That's so random, isn't it? I don't know where that comes from. And my mom, and everybody's like, are you going to go watch Uncle Kracker? And I'm like, no. I have zero interest in seeing him. Well, I can tell you that Puddle of Mud
used to perform at the Q, and the Q is a venue off of 81, which is the Hollins exit, which is the exit past Roanoke, which means nothing to people who don't live anything around here, but it's 40 minutes from here, and it's like it's a little bar with pool tables in it that's next door to a hotel. And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Puddle of Mud used to perform there reasonably routinely. I have no idea how that happened either.
Well, one time, I don't remember what it was. It was like 10 years ago, and I might have been living in Utah at the time, so don't quote me on it. But the Yin Yang Twins, like the ones that used to rap, came to Galax and performed. Don't ask me why or where or how or why I don't know. They just did. And I remember everybody in my hometown losing their mind. But the irony about Follow Me is the same thing I say about like Hinder or Lips of an Angel. Those songs are terrible songs at their core because they're about cheating. Like they're literally just about cheating on your spouses.
Yeah, not good songs at all, really.
Well, I just find it humorous not to judge people, live your life, do what you're going to do, whatever. I'm not saying I condone or expect it, but it cracks me up when people act like they're these enduring love songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have like this like love for them. And I'm like, do you even know what they're singing about? Like if you think about it at its core, Tim, it does make you laugh. But anyway, so he is still worth $5 million.
Well, that is not too bad. I think it was probably the Galax concert that probably did it.
Oh, I'm sure they brought in tons of money. All right, Tim, I haven't been keeping time, so just tell me what I'm reaching the end. I've got more songs, though.
Okay, I think we've got time for one more.
One more. Okay, then this is a good one everybody's familiar with. It does not, maybe in other countries she could be considered not a one-hit wonder. There's two versions of this song, and this is Nina, 99 Luftballons.
Yeah, 99 Luftballons, or in the UK, 99 Red Balloons. I think she had a career in Germany because predominantly she sung in German, and like it is, and it's funny. We've discussed this before. How the German language version is the version that was played in the United States, but in England we got the English version.
Yeah, it's very true because I've heard the English version, but if I were going to be talking about this song, I would say 99 Luftballons. I wouldn't say 99 Red Balloons, and that is really weird to me. Of course, I mean, every time I think of it, I always associate Lufthansa, the airline, with it for some reason because it means lift. For those who don't know out there, it just means like lift or up in German. But apparently she is still worth, to this day, Miss Nina, $15 million. But I will say I love this song, so I'm happy for her.
Yeah. It probably is one of these artists that sings in German, is huge in Germany, maybe even as big as David Hasselhoff, who can say? And I mean, I don't know what other things that Nina has done in her career, singing, songwriting, acting, production.
Yeah, she could have produced other music. I have no idea.
All that stuff. I mean, you know, she's probably a complete full package powerhouse when it comes to that
was
stuff.
She part of that tattoo band? All the things you say, all the things you say.
No, that's something completely different. I think they were Russian.
Never mind, everybody ignore everything that I just said. I was like, wait a second, was that her? But no, never was not. All right. Well, Tim, do you have anything else you'd like to say to the people?
Just be kind to everyone that you meet.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.